Okay guys, welcome back. You're watching the STPL. My name is Kix, of course, your cast, host and organizer. And here we are once again with day 1 of week number 4 of round 3 of STPL Season 1. Now we had a good ZVZ to start us off with, a little bit textbook, a failed Ling All In into a counter, did win Eroscraft a game. We're going to be heading into our second game here, and it should be a fairly good one. So let's actually have a look who our players are going to be. Okay, so for BuLL team, we're going to have a Terran this time. It's going to be Atrac. Now, Atrac did play one game so far in the STPL against Protoss already. He did win that game. So it'll be cool to see exactly how he's going to do here against Media's current top Protoss player. I think he's actually their only Protoss player at the moment. It's going to be Future. Now, G5, of course, on the Media roster as well, isn't as active these days, so Future obviously stepping in for that. Future obviously streams quite a lot on Twitch, which is why I know a little bit more about him. And also, he played a lot in the last round now. He hasn't actually played a PvT yet, but he is 2 for 1 this round, so starting off very, very strong. And I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how he's going to do as we move on to Benzene, one of the current ladder maps. One of my favourite two-player maps in the game as well. I've been playing a lot on this map recently, TVP as well as TVC. PvT at the moment on this map, 1 for 1. There was some great PvTs in this on this map back in the days of Pro League. Fantasy vs Stardust was a really good one that I was actually watching the other day. But either way, it's going to be Atrac fighting for BuLL versus Media's Future. Without any further ado, let's head on over to the game. Now, starting us off here in the top right-hand position, we do have the yellow Protoss fighting for Media. It's Future. Now his opponent spawning down here in the orange, in the 8 o'clock position, we do have the Terran player fighting for BuLL. It's Atrac. Now one thing that's a little bit off-centered is I'm kind of glad that we didn't get these colors on Colosseum. Orange versus yellow on desert maps is the most hellish thing to try and observe. It's almost impossible. And then obviously in Remastered, in replay as well, they actually play top versus bottom, so I can press Shift Tab to go to blue and red. That's kind of cool. But yeah, they're going to be yellow versus orange, that's fine. If it does become a problem, we'll just make it red versus blue. As a matter of fact, by the power of technology, that is exactly what I'm going to do to make it a little bit easier to see. Because you never know what's going to happen, especially when you start seeing a lot of mines on the map and things like that. It becomes a massive pain to really see what's going on now. Red versus blue now. Future looks like he is going to be going for Gateway first, so no 13 next or anything. No barracks coming in yet for Atrac, so it's possibly saving up for 12 supply to do that. I know he's going to build at 11, but he's kind of building in a weird place. Perhaps he wants to hide his barracks to make it a little bit harder for Future to find. Obviously that's going to make it a little bit harder to micro against against Zealots early game. But Future hasn't really been known to do that so far. He does it in PvP, but obviously I don't see too many of his PvTs in tournaments, so not really sure what's going on here, but should be kind of cool. He is going into his gas, so we'll be going into a quick Cybernetics core here. Is going to skip that Zealot as well to get the quicker Dragoon, so that's all well and good for him. Atrac is going to scout around 13 supply, so he's going to get a little bit of information if he can. Checking for any proxy gateways. This is a very good place to scout, especially if you're a Terran player and on ladder and you get this map. Check that location against random and Protoss, and even Terran, realistically. You scout around 13 against Terran as well. And the reason for that is you can proxy. I mean, I've even seen a proxy hatch there, so just scout there whenever. Like, if you have a feeling your opponent's going to shoot you, just go check that location. Obviously, there are other proxy locations, but that's the main one that can really cause a headache because it's so close to your natural expansion. But Future going to be moving out now. The first Dragoon should be on the way. It'll be out fairly shortly, around 21 supply for the Terran player. And Atrac, that's going to give him the opportunity to go in here, scout the fact there is range and then get his SCV back out. It's kind of very important to keep your SCV alive. Now, is Atrac going to see the cybernetics, or this could be a pretty big deal. Thank you to BuLL for the host, man. Looks like Atrac isn't going to go and check. He's going to try and get some harassment done on the probes. But he does need to make sure he checks that. There we go. Does check the cybernetics core. Now, is this... it looks like the SCV, unfortunately, is going to be forfeit. But Future being a little bit cheeky here, sending his probe into the top left location. Can't honestly tell what that's for at the moment, but we see Atrac has pulled out of gas, so he is going to be going into a fast expansion behind this. Now, obviously there's a few different things you can do with this kind of fast expansion. You can add a bunker, which is likely what we're going to see because he is taking his expansion on the low ground. That can be a little bit risky. He has gone up to 3 Marines though. Going to stop at 3, so nothing too crazy. Now, one benefit of actually building the barracks down here is this location right here at the 3rd is a really, well, at the like 5th or 6th base, depending on what, is a very good proxy location. And you can see immediately Atrac is going to fly his barracks over that scout, but unfortunately for him, he's not going to find this pylon. Now, the probe did actually go back home, so... Wow, this Vulture actually scouting at this pylon is a huge deal. We'll see that obviously there's no proxy tech coming up there. I mean, obviously Future could be really cheeky and send something in there a little bit later to proxy, but looks like Future is going to be playing quite standard behind this. He is going into his Nexus, which I forgot to say, that was around 28 supply. Obviously has his gateways coming in. And nothing too crazy on there. Now we are going to have mines first from Atrac, so this is another variation of those expands. Now, Future is playing very passively with his Dragoons, so this means his Vulture is going to be able to lay some very forward mines very quickly, which is going to be quite beneficial for him. He is going to go into 2 factory play, so not going into a starport super early either, and we should have that armory coming in as well, so... kind of looking forward to seeing exactly how this is going to play out. This kind of opening does lead to a more macro-orientated style coming in from Atrac, so I'm kind of excited to see exactly how this is going to go. TVP, one of my favorite matchups. Now, Atrac going to be trying to lay some mines. Future being like living on the edge there, sending a single Dragoon up. Not going to be able to take out that mine. Does pull back, but we're going to see mines being laid on the additional expansions here for Future. Obviously, he did try and lay a mine there, but it was killed. But that's going to be a little bit more of an annoyance by Future. Going to have to get an observer before he can take those bases. Now, Future back at home. Going into his robo, should see an observatory coming up fairly soon after. Now he knows that mines are out. But obviously shuttle, speed, obviously the support bay are going to be very powerful as well. Now, Atrac is playing one of the more modern styles of TVP. You don't really see it too much outside of the pro scene, but you go into Mine Expand and you go into 2 Goliaths behind it. Now that's not only to defend against the early observers, you can use your quick scanners to actually deal with that. You can also use it to deal with any shuttle play early on. And now these mines that Atrac is laying out on the map means that he knows exactly where Future's army are for the time being. So it wouldn't surprise me if we saw a very quick 3rd base coming in from him. Now, he is saving a lot of minerals right now, so I think he is going to go for a command center, but depending on where he's going, looks like the Marines are going to go up and clean this pylon out. But I'm certain this is going to be for a command center. Now, he has scanned the natural and the main, knows exactly what tech's going on, and by seeing the tech that he saw, by seeing the gateway count that he saw, he should feel very safe taking this 3rd base, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Going to go for the mirror only, most likely, but he can take this base. Obviously, he'll want to kill the pylon before that goes down. But just the fact he's able to do this off of the back of these 2 factories is quite greedy. But Future obviously playing quite greedy himself, went for a fairly quick Nexus. Doesn't have that many units. We should see a little bit of a gateway flood coming in soon. Now, the support bay has been finished. So those 2 Goliaths are going to be very important. Well, actually it's 3 Goliaths at the moment. So Atrac is adding on more units here now. Still, okay, so he's going to add his command center a little bit further back. The observer finally in here as well. So a probe should be able to go and build a neck. Oh my god, that's a big mistake there by Future. Letting the Dragoon run ahead of the observer does take a lot of damage to that unit. Now, obviously, it's not the biggest deal, but it is a pretty big deal. Now, Atrac looks like he's going to be playing very greedy here. He's going for a 4th expansion already. Now you see another scan going down, scans the fact there are robotic support bays there, which is going to be a big maneuver for him. Doesn't see the Citadel, obviously, but I mean, if you look at Atrac's map vision, he can basically see everything. Like, any path outside of Future Space minus this one, and here, obviously, is kind of covered. We've got a Vulture down here looking at everything. I mean, we are going to see the shuttle coming in. The barracks will see this. Now, the Goliath's trying to move in. This Reaver is going to be forfeit. Unfortunately, Charon boosters already finished. Now the Reaver has obviously dropped out. Atrac with good micro there. Does take a lot of damage on the Goliath. Does need to keep that one alive. But that's a perfect hold by Atrac, losing one Goliath for a Reaver, Zealot, and a Shuttle. This game could not be going any better for Atrac as he takes his 4th base here. And I mean, this is the kind of moment where Terran feels unbelievably safe. Like, obviously, you see a lot of sort of 5 and 6 fact pushes coming up behind this, knowing they've taken out the early tech of the Protoss. But we see the 3rd base coming in here for Future. Oh, the mine! The mine goes off and gets another large chunk of damage on these Dragoons. Does need to be a little bit more careful. Sending Observer way far back. He doesn't actually have Observer speed yet. Or maybe he does have Observer speed. Yeah, he does. That's going to be the problem. But here we go. Looks like Future going to be trying to scout in with 3 Dragoons. Not really going to be able to get too much done. The scan down on the Observer. Great eyesight there by Atrac. Now, can't lose these Goliaths. Does need to make sure they stay alive. I really want to see him repair those. But back at home, Future going into another Reaver. He's up to 4 gateways now. Should see him adding on a few more once this 3rd base starts to kick in. The Dragoons are out in the middle now. They are going to be able to stop any Vulture run-bys or anything crazy. But unfortunately, I mean, he has to do something soon because Terran is going to be a base up on him. And Future doesn't look like he's anywhere near ready to take a 3rd, well, a mineral only. But obviously the mineral only does allow you to get your gateways. Additional Nexuses a little bit quicker. You do lose out on that gas, which you'll need for your upgrades and things like that. But 5th gateway being added on for him. We should see the Templar Archives coming in pretty soon as well. The Armory has finished researching, so 1 attack should be done. And that'll be the Science or Starport coming in. So a little bit of a mistake here by Atrac. He's been spending a lot of money on everything else. Didn't get his Armory or didn't get his Science Facility on time. So his +2-1 is going to be a lot later. But here we go. It looks like Future going to be moving around the top half of the map to see if he can break through. But good mine positioning by Atrac. Going to slow this down entirely. And Future forced to retreat. He did only lose 1 Dragoon, but did take a decent chunk of damage yet again on his Dragoons. So Atrac isn't fully mining off of this base yet, not getting the benefit of the extra gas. He needs to get a couple of guys on gas there. I know that feeling all too well. But Templar Archives on the way. 3rd base, 3rd gas coming up now. And here we go. This is the big power play by Future as he tries to move in. There's not actually that many SCVs here yet. So this doesn't actually do that much damage. Doesn't even kill a single SCV. Now, what is his plan? Is he going to go around? No, he's going to go over. He's going to try and catch the SCVs at the other base where the Goliaths here are ready to defend the turrets. Going to take down this again, but a huge Scarab getting 4 SCVs. Oh my god! Another huge Scarab on the SCVs there at the 3rd base. But this is 4 command center production of these. And this is actually probably going to help out Atrac a little bit as he's going to get this base up and running a little bit quicker. But here we go. Looks like Future trying to use the fact the army moved down to deal with the Reaver to push in, clear these mines, and possibly clear some of these tanks. Now, this is a good timing to move in. There's not that many siege tanks, but does need to be careful. He needs to pull back his Dragoons. Only losing a single one again. Zealots coming in reserve to try and bolster this army. But does need to be very careful. This is a very strong 1-0 Terran army. Now it looks like another Dragoon moving a little bit too far forward. A little bit too close for comfort. Nice scan. Goes down to check for that Observer. Also check for any DTs as well. Although it's a little bit easier to see those. But Atrac is still in a very good position, but Future is not in a bad position either. He's getting his 4th base up finally. Did get a lot of SCV kills with that Reaver. Is going into his Stargate tech now. So we should see likely Arbiters after this. Going into his 7th and 8th gateway. Going to be important for him to get that gate farm up and running, because he's currently even on supply with our Terran player here, which is not realistically a position that you want to be in as a Protoss. Now, Atrac not seeing the Observer this time, so that Observer is going to be able to get in and see everything regarding the army. Of course, the science vessel should be able to deal with this. Now, it looks like Future has discerned that he's got enough to break past this. And now, is he correct, or is this going to be a big mistake? Let's have a look as he barrels down into the tank line. There's not that many vultures out in front, so the Zealots are getting on top of the tanks. The Dragoons getting good shots as well, but this is a lot of siege tanks here by Atrac. I mean, that's a good amount of damage done there by Future, but he did lose a lot of units to do that. Now, was it worth it? He didn't get any Zealots or anything up into this fourth base. So not really too much going on there. Now another Vulture has moved down there to lay a couple of mines, or maybe it's a little bit lost. Doesn't have any mines left. But the Observer checking everything out yet again. Future's reinforcements coming in thick and fast. The fourth base from him is mining quite nicely. And now there was actually a lot of scans going down there. So looks like he was trying to find the Observers. Did miss one of them, unfortunately. But he did clear up the other one. Obviously check the tech as well. Needs to check the gateway count. We're going to have an Arbiter Tribunal coming in here. Another gateway that's going to take him up to... That's going to be his 8th gateway, sorry. And currently we're just sort of sat at a time where Terran just kind of expanding to all of his bases. He's likely going to take this base fairly quickly. Atrac I would give the macro advantage to. He's going to be up a really, really good macro upgrade advantage when this 2-1 kicks in. Obviously it's a lot later than you'd normally see it, but he did take a very, very fast mineral-only 3rd, and then a very, very fast 4th as well. So Atrac is the one now who's like, well, I've got a big army, let's see if I can make something happen. Looks like he moves forward to force a little bit of a reaction from Future, but then pulls back, realizes... maybe I don't quite have enough units to break through here. Now, one thing that's quite indicative here is Atrac doesn't actually have... he has only one single group of single control group of tanks right now. So Atrac has been working off a very low tank count. He is obviously on 3 machine shops for now. There is actually 6, 7, 8, 9 gateway. Oh, sorry, 9 factories. Here we go. Looks like he's going to move in a nice deep siege line from Atrac, but this is a lot of units from Future. He's pushing up onto the high ground, and this may not be the position that he wants to engage in, but he does force Future back. Future being a little bit sheepish with his units, possibly a little bit afraid of pushing in. This is a very, very strong Terran army, but realistically, 2-1 upgrades are not finished, and that's only 12 tanks. So a D-Matrix going down on top of a Vulture at the back of the pack, a little bit of a weird decision there, but that's going to allow Future to push straight through here and get to the bridges. Now, by controlling this location, he's going to control the unit flow of Future's army. Now obviously it's quite hard to push over the bridges, not only as Terran but also as Protoss. Another good scan does go in. The tank's actually unsieged. Dragoon's going to be able to get on top of the tanks, but this is a lot of tanks. A lot of damage should be done. The Zealots getting on top as well. Tanks doing a lot of damage. A huge siege shot there on the Dragoons. Good target firing there by Atrac. But Future's army is just getting decimated here. With only 8 gateways, this is going to be very, very difficult for him to remax. It does look like he killed a lot of the Terran forces though. But I mean, look at the rally. I mean, look at the amount of mines. Look at the rally point as well. There's just so many units back in here in reserve from Atrac. The Future is going to have a lot of trouble with this. Now, in the meantime, Future has managed to secure his 5th base. Does need to get mining that gas, although he is currently at 2.5k gas bank, so not really... overly important to get that just yet. But Future's army getting a little bit bundled up. He really should be rallying to down here if possible. But Arbiter's very, very late here. He is going for stasis first. I believe he didn't get recall. I mean, he really does need Arbiters, and he needs them fairly soon, and that's why you see him going to this second start gate. That just gives him the option of getting them a little bit quicker. Still no forges for upgrades. Obviously the Terran upgrades, they scale a little bit better in the late game, but the benefit of Protoss is they can kind of expand all over the map. and sort of remax from 2 locations. But one of the science vessels actually getting taken down. A little bit of miss micro there, kind of uncharacteristic of Atrac so far this game. Oh no, he's gonna lose another vessel! Oh, this is a huge, huge error. It looks like he was trying to go for oh my god, I think this is like a miss rally point or something. Another tank is going in. This is the kind of donations that Atrac is gonna possibly lose the game to. Another 2 tanks actually heading in here. Atrac hasn't realized. I mean, he's scanning around again, but more units heading on over to the middle of the map, and they're just slowly dying one by one to these Dragoons. 4 kills, 2 kills, 5 kills. I mean, how many units is Atrac going to have to lose before he realizes what's going on? I mean, this is going to be another tank that's missing, and not even killing the Dragoon. This guy, how much of a beating can this guy take? I mean, it may even die to... Oh, the Vulture not even killing it. But this is a really, really big mistake here by Atrac. He's throwing away a lot of units. Looks like he misrallied a while ago and hasn't fixed it. But wait, the replay's bugged. Yeah, the replay is bugged. Okay. Damn. That's really annoying. Okay, what I'm going to do is, we were on about 17 minutes, I think, when it was broken. So I'm going to reload the game. That sometimes fixes it. If not, we're going to have to figure out what happens while watching the rest of the series. But hopefully, we can get this to work. So, you bet Terran wins now. No, he didn't. He was transferring SCVs to a base with no command center at, and there was no arbiters, which doesn't make any sense. But let me skip forward to about 15 minutes. Now, this looks similar, but okay, let's go back. Let's see what happens. Obviously, we've got an engagement in the middle of the map. It looks like there's a lot more tanks here for Atrac this time. Now, looks like Atrac pushing across the bridges once again. Now, this is kind of where things went a little bit pear-shaped. The Arbiter actually out this time, so that's a difference that we didn't get to see before. But Atrac still pushing his way to the bridges. Looks like this Nexus did come up. I mean, this is getting a little bit weird, but obviously we'll have to see what happens. Now, this looks a little bit different. Future did not... I mean, Atrac has got a lot more units this time. I mean, look at this. Future managed to take out all of the army last time, but Atrac is pushing through with massive amounts of units. And now I know he and me said like it's going to be a classic where Terran wins again, but I think it is. It looks like Future, it looks like Atrac has a lot more units this time. The Arbiter has actually come out now, so this is definitely different. The replay definitely broken now. This could explain why the tanks did go down last time. We obviously didn't see the cloaked units. The Terran army's actually been forced back for now, so that's definitely something we didn't see before. Now we are going to see the re-rally actually rallied over here, so looks like Future is going to try and push his way forward into the army. Going to pull back just a little bit. But looks like we are going to have Future kind of moving back yet again. This is a little bit more dynamic than what we saw last time. We do not have any additional upgrades, so 2-1 upgrades have been finished here for the Terran. That's going to be obviously quite a big benefit. Now, is there any other differences? We should have a command center going up over here sometime. Because we saw a lot of SUVs transferring over there, but here we go. Looks like Atrac is going in for round 2, really trying to abuse these bridges, which makes it very, very difficult for Future to engage. But Future's army, very, very segmented. It looks like he has been macroing properly off of all his gateways, or maybe he has, but it's just not giving him enough time to rebuild. But there we go, Atrac pushing into the 4th base. Still no command center down here, so maybe just start distance mining. But great stasis on the bridge there actually by Future, going to make it a little bit harder for Atrac to push in. And this is going to be the moment that Future was waiting for. He's going to engage into the Vultures on their own. The tanks at the back, not really doing too much, but this looks like it could possibly be the last hurrah by Future. He's going to have to be macroing like crazy off of his gateways. The The vessel has been taken down, but the tanks are still alive behind. That stasis kind of helping him as well as Future there. But looks like Future is slowly dwindling in units. There is going to be a big amount of units pushing across the bridge now, and if he does push here, that is going to block the reinforcements from getting down to the mining bases. Now the Dragoons have moved in. Nice storm on that front tank, but a good D-Matrix. That was a bit of an iffy storm, and they're getting one Goliath, but yeah, looks like time is almost up here. We do have that 5th base coming in for Atrac. I imagine that was where the replay bugged. But looks like we are going to have Atrac take this game as he pushes forward into the Protoss 3rd. The probes have been pulled away. Of course, he does have this base down here. Does still have this base down here, but his natural choke is going to be camped here. Atrac with a very, very strong 2-1 push here. A nice storm once again, though, getting a lot of damage down on those tanks. But it looks like it doesn't matter. A good set of D-Matrixes are going to be able to clean save those front 2 tanks. And Future is going to find himself locked in his base. Does he have recall just yet? Recall is like the only option. He's got a huge tank shot going down on those Goliaths. Sorry, on those Dragoons even. And it looks like Atrac has done it. He's broken through the defenses of Future. And GG! Future taps out and Atrac takes game number 2. Now, obviously that was a little bit of a weird situation because we did have a bugged replay, but looks like I came back at the right time because we saw a little bit of a different engagement to sort of help really decide the end of the game there. So great play by Atrac, great positional play as well, pushing for those bridges, making it very difficult for Future to engage his back tanks, and a good amount of positioning as well on those tanks. To avoid as much stasis as possible. So good work by Atrac, obviously good work by Future as well. But that's going to take BuLL up 2-0 in this series. And it's going to be up to our next players for Media to try and bring it back. They're going to have to win 3 games in a row if they want to take it to the ace match. And we're going to find out if they can do that, starting with our next game, which is going to be Amputee versus Nyoken. And that's going to be happening just after this. See you guys when I get back.